In this TAD services training video, I'm going to talk a little bit about irritating things that happen in text that we can take care of. These are not terribly well known items, and they're things that we can avoid having to watch for by setting up just a few options in the document ahead of time. A lot of these things we do set up in the TAD template, however, when you copy and paste your chapters in, they tend to not hang on. So I've got one of the templates open. I have sufficiently messed it up so that we have a few things to work with. The first one I'm going to point out are things like this. When you have a heading that has become the last line of text on a page, clearly the easiest way to take care of that would be to press return and just move it down to the next page. But then when you've done some other typing earlier in the document, you end up with uneven spacing above your headings. The other way to correct this is to go into your heading settings. You can go to Modify Style, then again down to Paragraph, and then normally you'll open up to this paragraph dialog box with your indentation, your spacing. There's a second tab called Line and Page Breaks. And if you have Keep with Next marked and Widow and Orphan Control marked, and we reapply this, it moves it down to the next page without adding a extra return. And what that is coming from is from the Keep with Next setting. I've already got it programmed into the headings. They should be there, but sometimes they get removed. So I'm going to undo that because the line spacing is what's giving us a lot of the problems, and my next problem to take care of is on the next couple pages. We'll come down here. So the first line of text on this page is actually the last word that should have been on the previous page. We call this an orphan. It's a problem because one little word can be very easy to miss if you're trying to read through something quickly. To correct this, you can click in the paragraph that it belongs to, or click on the word, as long as the cursor's in there somewhere, and right-click to go to the paragraph menu. Again, we're in this paragraph dialog box. You only need to have Widow and Orphan Control clicked on this one, and it moves so that there's at least one full line plus whatever is hanging over on the next page. This also can happen when it's the first line of a paragraph. Let me see if I can find an example. I don't believe I have one. Let's make one. This is what's called a widow, where you've got one line of text and only partial, and then the rest of it goes on to the next page. Again, this is corrected the same way in the paragraph, line and page break, and usually this just moves it down to the next page. And you'll notice even as I deleted that extra line, it kept all three lines together, because if it would have moved the first two up to the previous page, you would have been left with this line all by itself. So very short paragraphs get to be kind of difficult to control. And you can set this to all the text in your document at once by holding down the Command key and typing A, right-clicking and going into the paragraph. And when you've got a lot of text selected, you'll see that there are these hyphens in here. If you click once, they turn into check marks. If you click twice, they empty themselves. My recommendation, if you're doing all the text in the document, is to just leave Widow and Orphan Control on. That'll clear up that text, and your headings should be taken care of with the heading settings in your styles menu over here in the formatting palette.